Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Thank you. And welcome everyone to the Sunday morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading and discussion with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, our panel of Prabhupada disciples. And I want to thank Bhakta Jad for that wonderful work that we did this week to design this new opening and closing. And we're getting a lot of appreciation globally for these efforts. And thank you. And it's commendable that all of you are coming on a regular basis. We've already got 15 people here, even though time has already started, but at least on the live broadcast. But we do have people that are attending our programs on our YouTube channel, Hare Krishna Society YouTube channel, which is a conduit to many people that are abandoned by their original group, the ISKCON group, been either abandoned or banished or punished, whatever. Lots of different ways that the people in that society deal with dissenters. And I wanted to mention to all of us the great opportunity that we have to gain the attention of Krishna. So Prabhupada had mentioned, and we've commented on this many times, that don't try to see Krishna, but act in such a way that Krishna will see you. Yes, and so we've been blessed with the opportunity to reprint the original Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Delhi editions of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And people have mentioned different things to me over the last few months. But the fact of the matter is, these books, although they are not edited further by the BBT or the editors that Prabhupada had as a team after he arrived in America, there was obvious reasons why Prabhupada wanted the books edited from his point of view, because he wanted it to be presented into the system here, the Western system, where things are basically somewhat perfect. In an imperfect world, there's some levels of perfection that exist, and Prabhupada wanted to demonstrate that his books were also perfect. So, but on the transcendental platform, his books is 62 books, 64, 65 Bhagavatams are perfect. In fact, for his disciples, we rather enjoy the authenticity of his publications back then, which give a clear insight into the purpose of human life. And Prabhupada mentioned that this first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam contained all the information necessary to go back home, back to Godhead. Yes, just in that one volume of 3 books, the one canto, I should say, of the 3 books that he published. And there were 5 cases, trunks, Krishna Katha, that he had, as we've read, that he had put on the Jaladuta to bring to America and for distribution and to support himself, because you have to do things in order to get money to survive. So there are legitimate ways to work, and his way, he wrote these books and he was distributing them and using the money for publication and for maintenance. So quite brilliant every way, shape, or form. So by us taking up this mission of reprinting Krishna Katha, these books, you gain the attraction of Krishna. Because why? Because this is service to the pure devotee. And when Krishna sees his devotees serving his pure devotee, he becomes attracted. It's a very simple logic. We are servants of the servant of the spiritual master. We work together. We're not envious of one another. We're not fault finders. We're not backstabbers. We don't do that. Yes, Prabhu, Venkat, is there something? He might.
Oh, I think by mistake.
No problem. So I thought he was going to correct something for us on the screen. So this is the idea that by doing this, we're drawing the attention of Krishna, working as a team to service the spiritual master. And this is the most important principle that everyone in the Prabhupada Disciples Association and Hare Krishna Society should understand. This basic principle. And this will get us out of this repeated cycle of birth and death. Not academic studies. No, that's okay to learn the verses. A lot of our God brothers, they learn all these verses. Oh, I know all these verses. I'm in the pastimes of Krishna. Oh, that's okay. And then they use Krishna as a tool to make money and become popular for a few short years on this earth. Waste of time. Because people don't realize before you know it, you die. That's how quick time moves. So the most important thing is to invoke the attention of Krishna. And we do that through the service of our mission to protect the legacy. Yes, the legacy of Śrīla Prabhupāda in his unadulterated, unedited books. Some people say, well, that's all you repeat. Yeah, because you don't get it. You don't listen. You think you know. You've got some idea up in your head. Oh, I know all these verses. Okay. That's good that you've learned these verses, but learn how to practice this process of Krishna consciousness in association with bona fide disciples. And I wanted to mention Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. I wanted to call you yesterday to tell you, I had a call from a friend here online, and I could see his name up here, Arjuna Das. And we had the most wonderful phone call yesterday. It was so inspiring for me because I've never spoken to Arjuna. He's been coming to our classes for over almost a year and a half. Yaśodā. And anyway, I won't get into the dialogue, but I wanted to say that he truly appreciates the opportunity to be a part of this forum and hear the truth spoken without personal motivation. He loves it. And that we're getting every week. Constant people getting in touch with us by emails, by phone calls like that, telling us, keep going, don't stop, don't give up. We are looking for quality people, by the way, everyone. Sure, these people, there's this guy in New Zealand. Oh, Jayapataka's got 60,000 disciples. Okay. What does that mean? I don't know, not much. He's confused, they are confused, the whole thing is confusion. We are looking for quality people and we're getting them. And that is our success. And we will build a team. That team will help us to spread the mission of Prabhupada and his mission for future generations. So, if in such a way we want to see Krishna, and by accepting this service, you will become qualified to see Krishna by his mercy and the mercy of the spiritual master. So thank you, everyone. Commendable that you're coming out to the programs. And, it's part of our panel. All of you are part of the panel. And this is to stand as a testimony of truth for future generations, Krishna Gata. This is for the future of society, because soon we will all be gone. Goodbye. For one who is born, death is certain. For one who has died, birth is certain. So this is a reality that we all must face. In fact, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, I had a call yesterday from a person, Puru Das, who's in LA. Now, Puru Das was in Toronto for some time. He worked when I was the president there. I really can't remember. I don't want to embarrass him. He's not on the program, of course. But I can't remember what he used to do, but I do remember his name. And he called me to let me know that a fellow that worked with us back then in the 70s, I used to call him Ali Baba. He was a professional boxer, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. He was the Golden Gloves champion for New York State. And he showed up in Toronto, and we became friends, me and him. Actually, he was, I liked him there because he was protection. People were attacking the building and trying to hurt the devotees. We were getting attacked occasionally, because we were in those pink robes and, up and down the street with the war paint on our face. And the karmis couldn't understand what the heck we were doing. But nonetheless, we were not, we're part of the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya. And I had this guy, he was like a brute. Like you're talking like a super bodyguard. I loved it. And there's some interesting stories about that. I'm not going to tell today. We don't have the time. But he passed away 2 days ago. And Puru called me to let me know. He said, oh, you should come to LA. I want you to be the president of LA. He's been serving there for 17 years. I go, well, okay, well, we've got our own mission. Sorry, that's all right. But the point is this, that we do not know when time will call us. This Ali Baba, whatever his name was now, a spiritual name, he got brain cancer announced in April, and he's passed away already a few days ago. So this is something that happens to everyone. Death is for sure. For one who has died, birth is certain. So we're searching for good people to be a part of this legacy and go back home, back to Godhead. We're going to go forward with this wonderful prayer that we have, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, Markani Bhagavad Dharma, by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda at Boston Harbor, September 18th, 1965. If you could bring that up on the screen, Prabhu. I just want everyone to see this. Vinkat Bhatta. There it is, see. Markani Bhagavad Dharma. September 18th, 1965. So remember, Prabhupada was in Boston in 60s. Look at that writing. I was corrected yesterday by our godbrother Nilesh Sharma, yeah, that this is Bengali. So you can see you can see the beautiful script. Śrīla Prabhupāda's handwriting. The numbers at the top of the page to be calculations by Śrīla Prabhupāda of the distance traveled by the ship in 3 days. I don't know if you can see that up there. So he was very meticulous about his journey, what he was doing. We're going back in time with this insight that most people don't have, by the way. They don't really know the journey. They don't really know the history. They're just taught things which avoid this greatness, this proof of greatness of Śrīla Prabhupada. So this is a poem that he wrote, and it gives us very deep insight into the mind of the pure devotee, the consciousness. And what we should do, Bhaktijad, is understand this and follow in the footsteps of our spiritual master based on these beautiful prayers that he's presenting to us this morning in August 2024. I'm going to go through with the translations just for time's sake. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. Translation. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Translation. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vyāsadeva. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. It's very difficult, actually. But I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. Translation. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? O Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. Translation. All living entities have become under the control of the illusory energy by your will, and therefore, if you like, you will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. Translation. I wish that you may deliver them. Prabhupada's the ocean of mercy, everyone. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. The words of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam are your incarnation. And if a sober person repeatedly receives it with submissive and oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message. It is stated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and these verses we do with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu at every class, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayanto Sta Yabidrani Vidhonuti Saritsatam Nasta Prayeshu Abradeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Tada Rajas Tamao Bhava Kama Lobhadaschai Cheta Eter Anadvidham Stiti Pat Satve Prasidati Evam Pranasa Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantas Chidaite Sarva Samshayaha Bishanti Chasya Karmani Es Drista Evat Manasware. So we're going to read these later, but we'll read them now as well. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, by rendering service to the pure devotee, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as a irrevocable fact as soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart. The effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy, thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness. The man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge. of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. And we're going to go on. We're going to finish this poem. Translation. Next page, please. Thank you. Vinkat Bhatta. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. How will I make them understand the message of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says. I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore, I'm seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message so that if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. And Prabhupada was blessed to do that. Translation, only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I'm sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands, so if you've brought me here to dance, then let me dance, make me dance. O Lord, make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September, 1965. Tomorrow will be September 19th, and Prabhupada will arrive in New York Harbor and get off the boat and be picked up and taken to Butler, Pennsylvania, where he'll begin his mission in North America and the world to spread the message of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava by Śrīla Prabhupāda, and then the wonderful discussion from the Delhi Bhagavatams with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Sthitare Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Nāvācārya Śrī Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsādhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Śrī Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khund Radha Khund Giridhar ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए ऑल ग्लोरी टू देयर सिमर ऑल ग्लोरी टू देयर सिमर थैंक यू वेरी मच
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Śrīla Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Thanks everyone for coming to this event, this reading, discussion, and class on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It should be noted that this class is based upon the original 1962 New Delhi Bhagavatam edition with all the synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected Sanskrit verses with translation from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself, explaining the meaning and the benefit of hearing this great, powerful, transcendental literature. Shushrushuhu Shraddadhanasya Vāsadeva Katharuchihi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vāsadeva is made possible. Srinvatam svakataha Krishnaha punyasravana kirtanaha hridyantastoya badrani vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Text 18. Nashtaprayeshu babhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye cheta eterana viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manasu Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened mind and man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. We will proceed with our reading for this week. We are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 23. Thank you, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu. Aham puratita bhave abhavan mune dasyascha kasyaschana vidavadinaha nirupito balaka eva yoginam shushrushane paravrishi nriviktakshatam. Aham, I, pura, formerly, atita bhave, in the previous millennium, abhavam, became, mune, of the muni, dasyascha, of the maid servant, kasyascha, certain, vedavadinaha, of the followers of Vedanta, nirupita, engaged, balaka, boy servant, eva, only, yoginam, of the devotees, shushrushane, in the services, pravrishi, during the 4 months of rainy season. Nirvivikshatam, living together. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. O the Muni, in the last millennium, in my past life, I was born as the son of a certain maidservant, engaged in the service of the Brahmins, following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of rainy season, I was then engaged in their personal service. Purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda. The wonder of an atmosphere surcharged with devotional service of the Lord is briefly described herewith by Sri Nārada Muni in the incidents of his previous birth. He was the son of the most insignificant parentage. Neither he was properly educated, and still, because his complete energy was engaged in the service of the Lord, he became an immortal sage like Nārada. Such is the powerful action of devotional service. The living entities are marginal energy of the Lord, and therefore they are meant for being properly utilized in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. When it is not so done, it is called Maya. Therefore, just 1 second, the illusion of Maya is at once dissipated as soon as one's full energy is converted in the service of the Lord instead of in the matter of sense enjoyment. From the personal example of Sri Nārada Muni in his previous birth, it is clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. The Lord says that the service of his servants is more than his personal service. Service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. One should therefore choose out a bona fide servant of the Lord, constantly engage in his service, and accept such servant as the spiritual master, and engage himself in his, the spiritual master's service. Such spiritual master is the transparent medium to visualize the Lord, who is beyond the conception of material senses. By service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion of service rendered. Utilization of the human energy in the service of the Lord is the progressive path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as the respective service in relation with the Lord is rendered under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The expert spiritual master knows the art how to utilize everything in the matter of glorifying the Lord, and therefore under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into the spiritual abode by the divine grace of the Lord's servant. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Gurave Namaham Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshatah Adadhanastrinam Danter Idam Yache Punaha Punaha Śrīmad Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Satkaromi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Here in this purport, there is very nice description of the life of Nārada Muni in his previous life. And Prabhupada is making some very important points. Prabhupada says, from the personal example of Sri Nārada Muni in his previous birth, it is clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. The Lord says that the service of his servants is more than his personal service. Service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. So there are many very important truths in this purport. We see in another part of this purport, and Prabhupada explains that the corresponding energy which is devoted in the service of the Lord, one will receive corresponding realization. This is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 4, text 11. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. According to the proportionate surrender. And this is done through the via media of the bona fide Acharya, the bona fide spiritual master. Now, it's one very important thing to understand here. There's a certain misconception that certain individuals have espoused or preached that one can do whatever they like or concoct whatever they like and it's still authorized. This is not the philosophy that Prabhupada presented. This is very important because we saw, especially in the first few years after 1977, various individuals making outlandish claims of successorship, of so-called appointment, of so-called zonal authority, so many other nonsensical declarations which have nothing to do with Prabhupada's teachings. It was simply a manifestation of false ego, a false understanding of the teachings of the Acharya. And we can see when we read carefully Śrīla Prabhupada's statements, line for line, word for word, every point that is made, Prabhupada does not preach these nonsense ideas. The relationship between a devotee and his spiritual master are very, very important. It is sacred. It is based on service and surrender. It is based on submissive hearing. The other day, somebody sent me a YouTube clip of a famous American actress who was claiming that she was following Hinduism. And the reporter who was interviewing her asked her, well, how did you come about following Hinduism? How did that come about? And she mentioned that she had looked at the face of some Swami in India and just looking at his eyes and his smile, and she got inspired. Well, that is nice. But in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself, we see that Prabhupada says that one should associate with a sadhu not by seeing, but by hearing. One has to hear the message of the sadhu. A great sadhu and spiritual master like Śrīla Prabhupada has left a great legacy of authorized messages and teachings in bona fide disciplic succession. And the reason some people are confused or misled or misunderstand is because they do not hear from the proper source. We don't need any subsequent new interpretations of Prabhupada's teachings. Prabhupada is very clear, very direct, and it's very simple. C'est très simple de comprendre Śrīla Prabhupada. Ce n'est pas difficile. What I'm saying is it's not difficult to understand Śrīla Prabhupada. It's simple. Do not manufacture. Do not invent different interpretations. And we saw this, those of you who were there in 78, 79, new novel interpretations. Whenever inquiries were made, whenever questions were posed to the persons who presented themselves as successors, most of the time the answer was, oh, you're not surrendered. You're not accepting the authority. No, these were genuine, bona fide inquiries to find out how and when Śrīla Prabhupada ever appointed any successors, any Diksha gurus. Still, 46 years later, there is no clear answer. In other words, when we look in the Bhagavatam, when we study Prabhupada's teachings, things are clear. But those who are motivated by sense gratification, by desires for name, fame, power, profit, adoration, distinction, when all these motivations come in, everything becomes twisted. Everything becomes misinterpreted for the purpose of sense gratification. Prabhupada complained about this. There's one famous letter, which some of you may have seen, where Prabhupada says that amongst his godbrothers, different godbrothers interpreted the instructions of his Guru Maharaj for sense gratification. Prabhupada says, I'm always afraid of this great crack, because in order to progress as a mission, there has to be a united understanding. There has to be a united philosophy. There has to be a united approach. And the reason we saw all this dissension, all this nonsense, especially in the first few years after Prabhupada departed, is exactly because of this point, with some individuals misinterpreting, reinterpreting, falsely interpreting Śrīla Prabhupada's instructions simply for name, fame, power, profit, adoration, distinction, self-aggrandizement, self-promotion, pratishta. Pratishta in Sanskrit means to firmly stand. One gets great benefit and great blessings by coming in contact with a bona fide acharya. It doesn't matter, it's physical contact or just the contact of the teachings. As soon as one hears the message of the acharya, one is blessed with spiritual understanding, with spiritual power. But if one misuses that blessing, there are also severe reactions. There are also severe reactions. Recently, one devotee asked me, Well, why is it that you and Vishwakarma and this Krishna Katha and everybody on this program are always repeating the same point about the original books? Why? Because that was Prabhupada's instruction. Simple. I related the story several times. In 1970, when I first went to Los Angeles from Philadelphia, I had a conversation with one of Prabhupada's personal servants. And I asked him, this was soon after he had formed the GBC, the Governing Body Commission. I asked him the question, well, most devotees know what a temple president is, what a Samkirtan leader is, what is a treasurer, a secretary. We know that, their function. But what is this GBC? What is this meant for? What are they supposed to do? And he explained that Prabhupada formed this to protect his teachings, to make sure that in the future, his teachings would not be changed and adulterated in any way. This is the primary function of the GBC, and to make sure that devotees are following, that things are managed properly, temples are following the proper program. But the main point that he was emphasizing is not to change Śrīla Prabhupāda's teachings, to keep the teachings in their pure and original form. That was the message that he gave. And that really stuck with me. Because on one occasion in 1977, after Śrīla Prabhupada had spoken the rascal editor's conversation on the 22nd of June in his garden, everybody had dispersed, and I happened to be in Prabhupada's room sitting there. And Prabhupada was very angry. And in India, those of you who have been there, they have fans because it gets a little warm. So there is a fan to disperse the air to make it cooler. And on the table, they have these paperweights. It's a crystal, some sort of translucent paperweight, so the papers will not fly all over the place. So he took his paperweight and slammed it on the desk. And Prabhupada said, you there, you tell these GBCs, if they change one word of what I've written, it will spoil everything I've done. You tell them, you get out and tell them. And I was so frozen because Prabhupada was obviously very angry. I was like frozen. Prabhupada said, get out. You get out and you go write a letter and tell them not to change my words. So what was the message here? What was Prabhupada trying to say? Don't change my words. Don't change the instruction. What we didn't realize at the time is many of Prabhupada's books were being re-edited, changed, and reinterpreted by some crafty editors during Prabhupada's manifested presence. They did that with Ishopanishad. They did that with teachings of Lord Chaitanya. They did that with Nectar of Devotion. They did that with the first 4 cantos of Bhagavatam and so many books. Prabhupada did not want that. That's why he gave that strong injunction. Don't change even one word of whatever it is. Not only is it disrespectful, but it shows they did not understand who Prabhupada was. Yesterday, we were reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Antya Lila, chapter 5, text number 71. And one devotee requested me to read it again. I'm trying to find the printout here. Where Śrīla Prabhupada explained that when the spiritual master speaks, it's to be understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is speaking through him. And this is very important. Prabhupada engaged his disciples. He gave them different services, told them they could print the books, they could distribute the books, they could, in some services, that they can edit the books properly. Venkat Bhattatik, here, Venkat Prabhu found it. Thank you, Venkat Prabhu. One is forbidden to accept the guru or spiritual master as an ordinary human being. Guru Shu Naramatihi. When Ramananda Roy spoke to Pradyumna Mishra could understand that Ramananda Roy was not an ordinary human being. A spiritually advanced person who acts with authority as the spiritual master speaks as the Supreme Personality of Godhead dictates from within. Thus, it is not he that is personally speaking. When a pure devotee or spiritual master speaks, what he says should be accepted as having been directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Parampara system. And this is the point about those people who have impudently disobeyed Prabhupada's instruction and changed his books. You have not understood where these books came from. Prabhupada just described here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the direct dictation of Krishna through his pure devotee, Śrīla Prabhupāda. That's why Prabhupada warned, don't even change one word from my books. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Thank you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. And this is what Prabhupada warned us in a lecture that I was listening to. And it was his direct experience in dealing with his godbrothers in the Gaudiya Math that after the disappearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, his godbrothers concocted a different message on guruship, and in thus a great movement, namely the Gaudiya Math, was destroyed by whimsical behavior. So this change disease is something that goes on all over the world, and the idea of maintaining the sanctity of the words of the spiritual master is a way to enable people that are bona fide disciples to get a real insight into spiritual life on the true transcendental platform, because it's a window, Krishna Katha, into the spiritual world. It's a vision, a transcendental vision that's being delivered through the mercy of the spiritual master. It's just a question of understanding. And today's purport, I thought, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, was very revealing. And if we study even this purport, we can basically become Krishna conscious by following the points that were given by Prabhupada on how to practice devotional service. And I wanted to go to the Bhagavad Gita for us today, Prabhus, and look at a particular verse in the second chapter and purport by Śrīla Prabhupada on how to transcendentally become situated even while you're in the tomb of the material body, because that's what it is. The soul is stuck here. It's a bad bargain for the conditioned soul to be resting in the material body. Now, someone will say, why would you say that? Well, we all know what the miseries of life are. We all experience them all the time. But somehow or other, we don't want to hear how to get out of this material life because of false ego. We want to be the enjoyer. Prabhupada explains, people want to be Krishna. They don't want to serve Krishna. They want to be Krishna, the supreme enjoyer. But this is the illusion of life. So the Bhagavad Gita, text 72, at the end of the, yes, thank you. This is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. Being so situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Purport. One can enter into the kingdom of God, even at the hour of death. Of course, you should be preparing all along, not just wait till the last moment. Oh, that's what a lot of people do. I'll do it at the end. No, we practice all the time, and this way we're prepared to leave without any inconvenience. One can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once within a second, or one may not attain such a state of life even after millions of births. It is only a matter of understanding, here's the key, and accepting the fact. So we hear things, we listen to them, they sound pleasant, but we don't have the capacity to act on them. That's what it means, accept the fact. We don't have the capacity to surrender because of false ego. Katvanga Maharaj attained this state of life just a few minutes before his death by surrendering unto Krishna. Nirvana means ending the process of materialistic life. According to Buddhist philosophy, there is only void after the completion of this material life, but Bhagavad Gita teaches differently. Actual life begins after the completion of this material life. For the gross materialist, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic life. But for persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life. Before ending this life, if one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana. There is no difference between the kingdom of God and the devotional service of the Lord. Since both of them are on the absolute plane, to be engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord is to have attained the spiritual kingdom. In the material world, there are activities of sense gratification, whereas in the spiritual world, there are activities of Krishna consciousness. Attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is an immediate attainment of Brahman, and one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. So we'll end with that, but one can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once within a second, or one may not attain such a state of life even after millions of births. So this is opportunity. So preparation and opportunity come together. What happens, Mother, when you have that combination of two? Opportunity and preparation equals success. So this idea of the connection with the spiritual master as the bona fide representative of Krishna, hearing these insights, because, why? It's a mystery. This is a secret, the secret of all secrets. The king of knowledge, the king of education. Do we understand it, Krishna Katha? Well, we flounder along in this material world, constantly trying to remember this simple principle, the principles that are expounded in this class today. There's enough here to enable us to get out of this material world, but do we accept it? There's a reluctance. Oh, I'm attached to my husband. I'm attached to my wife. I'm attached to my bank balance. I'm attached to my car. I'm attached to my house. I'm attached to my routine. I'm attached to my designation. I'm a Canadian. I'm an American. I'm this, I'm that. All these things, they just bewilder us. But if we can somehow or other come to the point of understanding that we are simply the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we will truly become happy. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please, if you could further elaborate on these points.
Well, this is a very important point, and it goes back to the fundamental question, what
Yes.
is the science of the soul? How many times have we heard Śrīla Prabhupada talk about the soul, the meaning of the soul, the location of the soul, the difference between the body and the soul? Why is it that we have this human body that is encaged in a certain location, in a certain set of senses, in a certain family, in a certain country, with a certain set of features, with a certain level of intelligence or lack thereof, with a certain standard of beauty or lack thereof? There are so many different questions related to this science of the soul. Why is it that some people are born on the sidewalk in Calcutta, whereas somebody is born in the house of Birla or Ambani or some wealthy billionaire? Or in America, the son of a Walton or Rockefeller or Bill Gates. Why? There is karma. People think of karma just in terms of the present. Well, if you do something, you're going to get such and such reaction. But the current situation we have is a result of past karma, past activities. But people do not understand what we have done in the past, which results in this body, and what we're doing now will result in the next body due to ignorance. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, it is described that you have to hear from the Acharya. Acharya upasanam saucham. In the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna describes the various elements which constitutes knowledge. And one of the first points is to hear from an authorized, self-realized, liberated Acharya or guru or spiritual master. Now, there's plenty of show bottle gurus, self-made gurus, opportunistic gurus, money-seeking gurus, what Prabhupada called bhumi fal gurus or self-made gurus. There's plenty of those, but it is very rare to find a bona fide, fully realized guru. Now, that is the person of Śrīla Prabhupada. But some people will say, well, he's not here right now. We can't ask him questions. You can, if you know how. If you know how to hear submissively, you can get the knowledge. The knowledge is still there. The transcendental inspiration is still there. Anybody can connect with Śrīla Prabhupada. It is not difficult. Anybody. So this is a very important point. There is a new feature that Dr. Jad from France has put in the beginning of our program. It's a little slide called The Science of the Soul, Atma Tattva. And we're very grateful to Venkat Bhatta Prabhu and Dr. Jad and anybody who is helping to improve our programs and our presentation. The point is, because I get this question from different persons, why is it that Swami Prabhupada, just like I've got a brother-in-law in Quebec City, and he's a Microsoft certified engineer, highly intelligent, capable person. And he's reading Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book, and he's asking me, why is it that Swami Prabhupada, the prophet, he calls Prabhupada the prophet, le prophète. And you see, why is it that from the beginning and the end of his writings, he's always talking about the difference between the body and the soul. He's always coming back to this point about the importance of understanding what is the soul, what is the destination of the soul, what will happen after death. This is called the science of the soul, Atma Tattva, the truth regarding our individual position. There was a recent lecture a devotee sent me where Prabhupada says, what is Bhagavad Dharma? Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Dharma means to understand God, our position as his servant, and our relationship with him. That is Bhagavad Dharma. That is the science of the soul. But there's so many aspects to this that are unknown to modern educated people, because everybody has been brainwashed and victimized by propaganda. Oh, you only live one life. It's finished. Votre vie sera finie. Lorsque tu es mort, tout est fini. I'm saying, when you're dead, everything finished. No. Your body will be finished, but your intelligence and your soul will go according to your mind, intelligence, and body, your mental condition. And that is why one should understand the difference between the soul and the body and act accordingly, according to the instruction of these great realized rishis or sages, great acharyas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Excellent. And the fact of the matter is, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, everyone has questions and everyone's looking for answers. And it's interesting to note that you were commenting on the dynamic nature of Prabhupada's literature. And one of our devotees here in the Hamilton area, he's on the call. He comes to all the classes, Dr. Joseph Felice. And I also nicknamed him Arjuna years ago. He mentions to me that whenever he has a question, he just opens up any book. He can open the Gita or the Bhagavatam and start reading, and the answer to the question appears right in front of him. Because this is the dynamic nature of Prabhupada's transcendental position as the pure devotee. Whatever the Acharya speaks, this is also scripture. So we have this entire voluminous explanation of Shruta, of these precise explanations of truth elaborated by Śrīla Prabhupāda to solve the mystery of life. This is a great mystery. People are lost because they have no answers to their questions. And they just wander around on the mental plane of mental concoction. I've changed the term for most people from human being to human animal. The friends of mine here I call them animals. You're nothing but animals. Oh, what do you mean? Well, you don't ask any questions that have any relevance. You're like dogs and cats and squirrels and raccoons that run around all around here. You're just an animal. Human animal. What do you mean? Don't say that to me. You're insulting me. No, I'm not. I'm telling you. That's not an insult. That's a fact. When you change your character under proper direction, then you can rise up to an under level of ability to have the capacity to understand the purpose of life. Otherwise, do the dogs and cats have a capacity? No. Where is food? Like the birds. Where is, the Prabhupada says, the birds are chirping. Where is food? Where is sex? That's the human being. That's a human animal. Well, that's why this Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu's is constantly reminding us not to change the words, because these solve the mystery of life. We're lost in this material universe. We're insignificant specks of nothing. We think we're important. Oh yeah, that's the sad case of the matter, but we're not. Nobody is. The only time you become important is when you understand you are the servant of Krishna. Jivara Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Oh, I heard that so many times. Well, okay. I've heard it for 57 years. I'm still trying to figure it out. We're going to go to our panel of devotees here on the call and further the discussion with them. We'll go to Dharma Bhavana Prabhu in Dallas, Texas. Mr. Dharma Bhavana Prabhu, how are you?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you. We were just discussing how my wife, Jagovinda, and myself
Yeah.
over the last maybe 15 years or so or more
Uh,
have had different kind of questions. And we always open up a book and the answer is right there. So Jaivan is just saying that this is like an amazing thing. It has happened in the most transcendental, unpredictable way, but it happens. So you have a question, you open a book, and the answer is there. So this is a very phenomenal thing that has happened. And now here we are in year 2024, just reflecting back since 1970.
mhm.
A lot of devotees may not realize that millions and millions of persons here in America or Canada have either heard the holy name or taken prasadam or given a donation at either the airport or some parking lot or street intersection, mostly unknowingly. So now it appears like just from the last maybe 10 years or so, a whole transformation of Krishna consciousness is taking place to where the different anomalies that have happened or being corrected little by little. And it's so slow that we may not realize it, but we think about just 10 years ago, it is a very different situation. And the symptom of this is our reading and discussion that's going on now. I don't think there was anything quite like that 10 years ago. So that's a pretty wonderful thing. In one example, I was thinking how Prabhupada was so important to devotees in the 1970s. If any kind of question came up, devotees would ask Prabhupada, even like a small thing, like we used to wear dhotis, kurtas, and saris everywhere downtown for Harinam. And then when devotees wanted to distribute more books, they realized that by wearing civilian clothes, they could do almost double their book distribution and get more donations. So devotees asked Prabhupada, is this okay? Can we wear our civilian clothes? And he said, yes. He generally wasn't all that emphasizing how one dresses, but mostly our consciousness. But at the same time, devotees look so beautiful in saris and dhotis and kurtas for Harinam that it became a very part of our daily activities to dress that way. So that was mostly what I was thinking about, that right now we may still seem to be in somewhat of a low point, but Lord Chaitanya has this beautiful plan that gradually Krishna consciousness is being corrected. And that's a very beautiful thing. We're seeing it right in front of our eyes. The Krishna consciousness movement is being developed. And so it's kind of a wonderful thing to me. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Glory to Śrīla Prabhupada. And yes, you're right. You can pick up the books and look at them and read them, and you read through a few purports, and you get an answer to the question of life. It's very, very blessed, this opportunity. And I wanted to mention Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, how even a few words of Śrīla Prabhupada, when you hear these lectures that we're constantly referring to in our daily discipline, this is a discipline, everyone. It's not just a holiday. It's a discipline. It's like a devotee said to me the other day, before he started talking to me, he started off by saying this, Dharma Bhavana. I was initiated in 1972, but I don't chant my rounds. I didn't ask you if you did. Oh, no, I don't chant my rounds. What do you want me to do? Tell you you're stupid? No, I didn't tell him he's stupid. First of all, why tell me? Because then you're going to reveal to me how stupid you are. You get initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, you're bragging about how much you know him, how much association you had with him, and you don't do your rounds. You could have told me, I'm trying to do my rounds, but I'm not doing very well. Oh, I'm trying. You're not even trying. You admitted it. I don't chant. So Prabhupada's words are very deep. There's deep meaning even in 3 or 4 words that he says, Krishna Katha. And when I'm listening to these classes, I'm trying to think, okay, remember these words, so when we have our program, I can repeat them to our wonderful group and help share that insight that he's sharing with me, with other people. And this is the idea. Do not change anything, because when you change it, you're losing the connection with the spiritual world that Prabhupada is bringing to us by his divine grace. Yes, you're losing the connection. When you stay connected, then you have potency. When you chant, when you follow the principles, when you distribute prasadam, very valuable service. I'll go quickly to our next member of our panel, but I have a friend who works in Hollywood with Mark Wahlberg. Now, one of his favorite foods is prasadam, the soup that I cook. I cook it and I offer it. So yesterday for his birthday, I made him a pot of dal. Oh yeah. And I had it delivered to him 50 miles away from here from one of our members. And when he got it, he called me up. He said, oh, we're having this prasadam. He fed it to his family, his grandchildren, his kids, and himself. Oh, yes. And he protects it. He doesn't want anybody else to have the soup, but he wants him to have his spiritual food. He called me this morning. Oh, I have to apologize. I didn't give anything to Darren, but I served it to my grandkids. And, he fed his family. And I thought to myself, gee, what a blessing that he's getting prasadam. And by him getting the prasadam, I'm getting blessed. I'm getting the benefit from giving to others. So those who give Krishna consciousness to others under the guidance of the spiritual master, they're Krishna Katha, they're the most celebrated people on this planet, yet people criticize. They fault find. They condemn, oh, you were this or that, or blah, 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 all this nonsense that goes on. Of course, that's the babbling of the stupid people. They babble on the mental plane of false ego, but that's what can you do? This is going to go on as long as we're living. And Prabhupada suffered the same harassment by his own god brothers. Yes, he did. He suffered. They did not appreciate what he was doing at all. In fact, when we went back, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, when I went in 73, Prabhupada had us come to Mayapur festival, and he wanted us to go out and chant in public. And they were so shocked. Did they celebrate it, his God? No, they were angry. Why are they calling you Prabhupada? And we know that story that Yaśoda's told us before. Krishna Katha, maybe you could share your realizations this morning.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everyone. What another wonderful, enlivening discussion and class. Like you said, Vishwakarma, when you first started talking about, Prabhupada made sure that everything that is necessary to become fully realized in Krishna consciousness is in this 3-volume set that he brought over on the Jala Duta. So naturally, every purport, every translation, every verse is rich in our deep philosophy. Thanks to the Parampara and to everyone, in our line of disciplic succession. I just wanted to go right back to the very first sentence of this purport and then just speak what came up for me, what I believe is a pertinent realization, and that is the wonder of an atmosphere surcharged with devotional service of the Lord is briefly described. So let's go back through that. The wonder of an atmosphere surcharged with devotional service. So this is the key. This is the essence of what we are up to as spirit souls that have been so fortunate to have taken a birth in whatever type of body, whatever mother and father, whatever city, country, but we have come in contact with a Mahabhagavat, pure devotee, for this golden age, for this horrible Kali Yuga, but to flourish in this golden age. And so how did that happen? It happened because of past lives with a desire to seek the truth and get out of the cycle of birth and death. It happened because of previous births. So I had a nice text from a wonderful, sincere devotee of Śrīla Prabhupada this morning. As soon as Yaśodā read this translation and purport, I received this text. Krishna Kata, I am in awe of how Krishna has brought me to this moment in this place with this great devotee. Do you see the realization that she has? Do you see the realization? We are all in this collective desire. I know I brought this term up before, but the essence of our existence is desire. Desire is what got us here, and desire is what's going to get us out. If we dovetail our desire to the instructions of our spiritual master, there's so much to do. There's no lack of activity. In fact, you can be so much engaged in devotional service with every single desire that you have. There's no off switch. There's no delete button. You're eternally desiring. So the question becomes, are we desiring some material aspiration or nonsense, or are we desiring spiritual connection, devotional service, realization? So it comes down to desire. So this devotee who texted this to me is getting this deep realization from this verse. That's how potent Prabhupada's words are. And that's why we don't change them. It's a phenomenal thing to think that someone actually desired to change his words. And how unknowingly was that offensive? But it happened. And that's why our group, who has come together in this collective desire to begin this march forward to print Prabhupada's original books, this GoFundMe campaign, right? As soon as you said it, Vishwakarma, what did Ram Singh do? He put up the campaign. That's because he's part of our collective desire. He immediately did it. And then right away, we started getting contributions to this great collective desire of printing Prabhupada's original books. If they don't do it, we're going to do it. That's the way I see this. Someone has to. And this is our benefit. This is our benefit to serve Śrīla Prabhupada, to print his original books. Someone has to. Someone's going to. Lord Chaitanya is making it happen. His will is being done, and we are his instruments. That is our connection, and that is our benediction. And this verse is so rich. And then this realization that was texted to me, it's just an overwhelming sense of, you don't doubt that what we are up to is exactly what Prabhupada wants us to do. And that is our position, is serve the spiritual master and please him with all of our desires. Please him in every moment. And that's what we are doing. Thank you guys so much. You're so amazing, amazing, sincere devotees. And I am in the same awe that this devotee texted me, that somehow or other I'm in this time, place, and circumstance to be on this class. How amazing is that? So I'm in awe. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Well, excellent, excellent. And, you know, it's a simple matter of truth. There's something blissful, transcendentally blissful, when you associate with the absolute truth, whether it's through the books or through the chanting of the holy names or the association, Guru Shastra Sadhu. A lot of people want to minimize the Prabhupada disciples. They do. In a lot of cases, the Prabhupada disciples, for whatever reason, for all the difficulties, a lot of the younger devotees, the Gurukulis, they hate them because they had bad experience. But not everything is lost. It isn't. And it lives with us. It really does. People can say whatever they want. We will march on, just like the camel train. Marching, Prabhupada uses that example, marching through the town, and the dogs come out and bark. We'll bark all you want. We will keep going. Bhakta Jad, do you have a last comment before we call on Yaśodā-nandana?
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Really, it was perfect. And I have nothing to add. Please, Vishwakarma Prabhu, keep imitating people you meet. It is the funniest thing I know in the world. This association with devotees, it is the nectar of my life at the present moment. Thank you, everyone. Haribo.
Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could say a few words. Microphone. You're not coming through, Prabhu. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu.
Here we go.
There you go. Thank you.
I wanted to ask if Nilesh Sharma is still on the call. He always has some very insightful and good comments. If he is there, rather than hearing from my lowly self, he has always some good thoughts. Are you there, Prabhu? Nilesh
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes. Yes,
here he
Hare
is.
Krishna.
Okay.
I joined in late, but whatever I could hear, especially Dharma Bhavana's Prabhu's comments on how the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, and no matter which book you open, which page you open, it answers your question. The mentioned by Vishwakarma Prabhu about his friend who he nicknames Arjuna, who does the same thing. Then Krishna Katha Das, he's talking about Krishna Katha Prabhu, talking about how this devotee is so fortunate to come in. If you look at all this, this is just realizations of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Chapter 4, verse 11, Yata Mam Prapadyante. How does Krishna know that? How do you open to that same page? What does Krishna do? Because the desire to answer that question is so strong within you and so sincere that Krishna, who is seated as the Paramatma in your heart, directs you accordingly. Remember, Krishna is still what? He is the controller of this material world. You see, Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Nothing happens in this material world without his permission. So if you think that you are in this particular group accidentally, think again. Nothing happens in this world accidentally. There are no accidents. This is all associated with our karmic accounts. This is all associated on the transcendental realm, where your desire to serve Prabhupada, your desire to know Krishna is so sincere that Krishna, Guru Kripa Krishna Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. Otherwise, we're going to keep circulating from one universe to another. But it is the sincerity in the soul which will determine where we'll go and how we go about it. So whoever is in this particular forum is not here accidentally. Whoever is in this particular forum is because of chapter 4, verse 11. Remember, these are our realizations. This is not something which is just happening. So if you were to explain, like Vishwakarma Prabhu was saying, that the words of the Acharya is Shastra. Now, it may sound a little dogmatic for some people, where they think that, oh, you know what, how can whatever he say be Shastra? I'll give you a simple analogy. Suppose I tell you, or any one of you, even for Bhakta Jai, to go in the worst part of Paris, the worst area of Paris, which is not safe, it is ghetto, whatever it may be. But you have to go there and you have to do a certain job. Maybe say, deliver a book, one of the Bhagavad Gitas to one person in that book. Okay? What would be your tendency? You will go to that place very focused, look for the address, look for the person, give that book, and get the hell out of there. This is what Prabhupada's position is. He has come down to this material world for only one purpose, to help Krishna reclaim the fallen souls of here. So why would he speak anything but Shastra? because there is no interest in anything else, because the return which you get is so minimal that it is not even worth the effort to put in. So understand that these are all realizations coming from the Bhagavad Gita itself. We got to connect the dots. We got to see the whole interactions which happen over here. And that is so beautiful. You know, when these things happen, it reinforces it. We can request so many jivas, please come to the class, please come to the class. How many of them come? And why do they not come? It is not an accident. It is because you need to have sincerity. That is why Prabhupada always instills in us the sincereness within us. You got to be sincere. And of course, you got to be enthusiastic. How will you get enthusiastic? When we share such realizations amongst us. Hare Krishna. Mataji had a question for Yaśodā-nandana.
Oh, yes.
Hare
Go
Krishna.
ahead, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have been thinking for a long time to do something from my end for Śrīla Prabhupada. And I know in one of the classes, Yaśodā-nanda Prabhu had mentioned that they started something every Wednesday religiously every year, every week they did that. And I just wanted to see if he can please go over that, like how did he start, and if there's some sort of inspiration I can get to follow his footsteps.
What Wednesday? What Wednesday are you referring to?
Every Wednesday in one of the classes, is it this class that he was referring to that it wasn't like he said he drove somewhere every Wednesday in California or something, and every Wednesday religiously they did something. So
Every
Yaśodā?
Wednesday at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would correspond to 8:00 p.m. your time, we have a Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading and discussion, very similar format to this, and there is also open discussion. Now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was on traveling, and I think in some of these classes, I had to do it from my car, from my vehicle. So I don't know if you were referring to that, but every Wednesday night, 8:00 p.m. your time, Eastern US and Eastern Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, we have this class. And the reason we call it reading and discussion is because we've had numerous inquiries from people like your good self and your husband who want to get the chance to express their questions, their realizations, their feelings, because what we've experienced too many times in the other institution is people giving a sort of sermon style preaching down to people, that they don't really get a chance to express their questions, their inquiries, their doubts, their realizations, because everybody has got some level of realization. And we're trying to do that. I know the time is short. We could go on probably for many hours, but we're trying to facilitate that. And what we're also working with Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, Bhakta Jad, and Krishna Katha is a series of special events. These are going to be focused on specific topics like what happens to the soul, what is the difference between the soul and the body, Atma Tattva, who is Krishna, what is the difference between Krishna and different demigods. Like right now in these classes, we're discussing fairly quickly, these various topics, but there is a request from many devotees, try to focus like 10, 15 minutes on just one topic and deal with it. I did that with many devotees in Tokyo several months back on the issue of the soul. It was about an hour presentation, a little long, but I've got a 156-page paper that I've prepared with all kinds of quotes from Śrīla Prabhupada, and it's amazing all the different angles and the different aspects that Prabhupada explains: the body, the soul, the karma, the 3 modes of nature, what will happen after that, and just what your good husband was describing, that there's nothing that happens by chance. Why is it that somebody is born, for example, in India, in a regular family, and somebody may be born as the son of Birla or Ambani, or somebody is born in the Appalachia in a shack, in complete poverty. There is a reason for that. Most people don't understand. And what we're trying to convey is how Śrīla Prabhupada explained this, to present it and package it in such a way that it can be very informative, very easy to understand with modern technology. That's what we're working with Bhaktajad, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, and some other Prabhus to present this in a simple, easy, attractive way. And hopefully devotees will receive that nicely. But we're working on it. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Glories to
Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. And we want to remind you, please send in your Vyas Puja offerings for 2024 to Śrīla Prabhupada. That date is coming up, and we want to have as many people as possible contributing to this gift of devotion from all of us to our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And I wanted to remind you that we are also still working on the Bhagavatam program with the GoFundMe. Anyone who gives a donation to the GoFundMe program will receive a set of books from us when it is published. And that's up and coming. So that GoFundMe program is still operating, and you may take advantage of that for gaining the attraction of Krishna. So thank you again. It's commendable that so many people are coming to these programs, and they're being put online at the YouTube channel Hare Krishna Society, which we're continuing to grow and develop and leave for future generations as a reference on what the truth is and how to understand the mystery of human life through the proper explanation of the philosophy according to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Hare Krishna. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna by Śrīla Prabhupāda and the
timing is always Hare Krishna.
Yeah, at the end, with Prabhupada playing the bongo so beautifully. Thank you, Prabhu, whoever you are, thank you. Glories to Śrīla Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks, everybody, for your participation. Thanks, Vishwakarma Prabhu, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, Bhaktajad, and everybody who participated in helping with this program. And thank you, Mataji, Rochi Sap Mataji, with the beautiful picture of Radha Krishna behind you there. It looks very, very nice. C'est très, très beau. C'est magnifique. I say, this is very nice, magnificent, the beautiful picture of Radha Krishna behind her head. Again, thanks, everybody. Krishna Katha with a beautiful display of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Very, very nice. Please join us again on Wednesday afternoon at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8:00 p.m. Eastern Board Time in Hamilton, Ontario. And please remember to send in your Vyasa Puja offering either to myself, to Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, or Vishwakarma Prabhu. My email address is yasoda1008@yahoo.com. yasoda1008@yahoo.com, or to Vishwakarma Prabhu at bobbyhebert.gmail.com. That's BOBBYHEBERT@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody, and all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.